The Earth teems with a fantastic variety of life, whereas the other planets of the solar system appear to be lifeless. After undergoing a great many changes, the birth of an atmosphere conducive to life is a wonderful feature which is unique to the Earth. The fauna and flora on Earth can be taken as a typical example to prove its uniqueness. The ability to stabilize and balance the life-giving liquid, air and heat is the other exceptional feature of Earth. Sri Lanka possesses a very prominent place on Earth because Mother Nature has been generous enough to bestow a bounty of all the necessary things and features upon Sri Lanka. One can experience different kinds of climatic conditions within this tiny island situated in the Indian Ocean. The ecological significance is clearly demonstrated by the high biodiversity and productivity. As a tropical country, numerous species of flora and fauna, especially the coastal environment and their valuable resources in water, fisheries, estuaries and lagoons, mangroves and seagrass and sand dunes, beaches and tourist sites have become part and parcel of Sri Lanka's culture. Whoever operates the development processes with a view to generating employment opportunities does an injustice to the environment rather than justice. They do so willy-nilly, as the unemployed people have to depend solely on natural resources for earning their livelihoods. As a result, the destruction caused to the environment is enormous. However, during the past 2 to 3 decades, there has been an increasing pressure for development in the coastal zones, for tourism and recreational purposes, near-shore fisheries, industrial development, housing, and infrastructure development. It has to be reiterated that the pollution caused to the coastal ecosystem is unprecedented. With the increasing pressure on coastal resources, the government took various initiatives, such as with the establishment of the Coast Conservation Department under the Ministry of Fisheries in 1978. In 1948, an international institution known as IUCN was established to work for the purpose of minimizing the harm caused to the ecosystem and to conserve it in every possible way. IUCN Sri Lanka also plays a prominent role in carrying out this undertaking. In spite of all this, the unexpected tsunami of the 26th of December 2004 struck the relatively narrow but long coastal area over 1,000 kilometers or 2/3 of the country's coastline. In Sri Lanka, the district of Ampara was very badly affected. 10,436 people were killed. Approximately 18,000 houses were destroyed and 38,000 families, or 193,000 people, were affected. The Ampara district is located in the eastern province of Sri Lanka. Ampara is located in a low-lying coast with sandy beaches and lagoons. It is occupied by 3 communities: the Muslims, the Tamils, and the Sinhalese. Such being the case, various government and non-government organizations were involved in tsunami rehabilitation work in the east coast of Sri Lanka. While these organizations were in full swing developing the coastal environment damaged by the tsunami, IUCN Sri Lanka is also in operation in close cooperation with the CCD and other agencies in supporting rehabilitation. The IUCN Sri Lanka Country Office has been implementing long-term environmental restoration projects, providing environmentally sound livelihood opportunities to those affected by the tsunami. It was in this context that IUCN Sri Lanka formulated the Post-Tsunami Ecosystem Restoration Project, or the PTERP, to be implemented in selected coastal divisions in the Ampara District, with financial support from the Canadian International Development Agency, or CIDA. This project consists of 2 major components: restoring the coastal ecosystems damaged by the tsunami, the enhancement of sustainable livelihoods. There were sub-components identified, these two components: the restoration of coastal and lagoon ecosystems, coastal planting, avenue planting, the removal of invasive aquatic plants, and solid waste management. Sustainable livelihood development included home gardening, poultry rearing, rainwater harvesting, biogas, revolving loan funds, and sustainable aquaculture. Furthermore, necessary technical inputs and studies were carried out by the IUCN Sri Lanka. Our vision is to restore the ecological conditions of Batticaloa by 2015. By introducing integrated sustainable management initiatives to optimize economic, social, and ecological, it benefits the local communities by working together to improve local livelihoods, biodiversity, and the ecological status of the lagoon.
IUCN has been working in Sri Lanka since the 80s, and our emphasis at the beginning was basically on forestry related areas like forest conservation, forest governance, and making forest management plans for the government. And since then we have diversified our efforts into a number of areas, and for example in the last 10 years we have been working quite extensively on conservation of coastal resources and looking at the people who depend on the coastal resources, their livelihoods, their problems, and possible solutions for betterment of their lives.
As a result of this combined effort, the Post-Tsunami Ecosystem Restoration Project was designed and launched in May 2007 to restore tsunami-affected coastal ecosystems and uplift the livelihood of thousands of marginalized communities of the area. The project area lies from Kalmunai to Panama in the Ampara District and includes mainly the Kalmunai lagoon mouth and coastal belt, the coastal belt of Akkaraipattu, Batticaloa lagoon including the adjoining coastal belt of Akkaraipattu and Thirukkovil, the Palakkuda lagoon in Thirukkovil, the Pottuvil lagoon in Pottuvil, and the Panama lagoon in Ecological Divisional Secretariat's area. And these are the primary areas of the PTERP. Even before this disaster occurred, there had not been a proper garbage disposal management system within these areas, and that too came under this project. The pollution of coastal areas due to mismanagement of solid waste is one of the key issues in the area. Kalmunai and Akkaraipattu urban areas provide a good example of improper solid waste management. Besides, many unauthorized structures are built in close proximity to the marshlands, the lagoons, and the coastal front. The encroachments, filling, construction of illegal structures, residential and commercial, are common features in the area as a result of poor education, poor governance, and law enforcement. Batticaloa is the largest lagoon in the Ampara district. It has been selected as the major area for the project's implementation. The lagoon's natural water movement with the sea has been affected a few decades ago with the construction of causeways across its two openings. The lagoon's characteristics are now disappearing and is slowly becoming a freshwater body. Palakkuda, Pottuvil and Panama lagoons within the project area are still remaining as healthy lagoons with less human pressure. But it needs proper management intervention before it is too late. Natural lagoon dynamics involve letting the sea water exchange with the lagoon water and mix together. But this simple, natural process has been disrupted in Batticaloa.
And we developed the project and received funding from Canadian International Development Agency to do livelihoods and ecosystem restoration in selected parts of east coast of Sri Lanka. In doing so, we have made a special attempt to try and get the full participation of the local communities local agencies. So therefore we have a very interesting way of implementing the project.
Fishing is the main occupation of thousands of local dwellers living on the borders of the Batticaloa lagoon. It is now under serious pressure. So they have to struggle relentlessly to earn their livelihoods, and that has been so for the past 2 or 3 decades due to poor productivity in the lagoon. As a result of not maintaining sustainable incomes, most of the fishermen in the area have become victims of tsunami and have become desperately helpless.
The Kalappu area contains extent of 38 square kilometer. Now it has been gradually reduced to 20 square kilometer due to various reasons. The fishing nets are also being damaged by a few rays of fish. After tsunami, fishing area also reduced. Now the number of fishermen increased from 1,500 to 6,000, but the possibilities are very low due to the Kalappu salty water.
As one organization alone could not deal with these diverse issues, the responsibilities had to be shared with other organizations working in the field with proper coordination. So Kalappu, a Local Coordinating Committee or PLCC, was established under the chairmanship of the District Secretary of Thirukkovil, mainly to coordinate the local and national agencies, the NGOs and CBOs of the area, in order to conserve and manage Kalappu and surrounding coastal areas.
After tsunami disaster, several organizations involved in development at Thirukkovil, but there was due to lack of coordination, we could not get the expected profit. But after IUCN stepped into the area, there it was organized with PLCC and developing projects were carried out in proper manner.
Most of the local fishermen do not have proper technical knowledge or even appropriate fishing gear. They engage in fishing either for selling or for their own consumption by using legal as well as illegal nets. As a result of lapses in regulation, most of the time they catch fish using inappropriate methods. This leads to a decrease in fish stocks in the lagoon and a reduction of the catch per unit effort. Thirukkovil and Akkaraipattu areas in Ampara suffer from abject poverty, as other nearby areas also do. Due to the long drawn-out civil unrest, the people living in the coastal area have been undergoing numerous hardships and financial difficulties. They struggle to survive and have little awareness or knowledge to change their attitude and behavior. The lagoon is neglected not only by the local community, but also by the relevant agencies who are responsible for conserving and protecting the lagoon. Not only the lagoon, but also the nearby coastal areas in Akkaraipattu, Thirukkovil and Akkaraipattu are badly degraded.
நாங்கள் IUCN நிறுவனத்தோடு சீடாவினுடைய நிதியுதவியோடு அக்கரைப்பற்றில் 2 விதமான
So with IUCN and SIDA introduced 2 ways of action in Akkaraipattu. So fertilizer and coastal planting. It protects the disaster and the coastal areas for relaxing areas. Solid waste management system is carried out for fertilizer and gaining foreign exchange. IUCN support the solid waste system and the clearing to keep city clean and drinking water to be kept up to certain standard. So we thank IUCN and SIDA in great manner for their fullest cooperation indeed.
The PTERP Field Project Office was established right at the beginning of the project. This was the key to establishing a good relationship and ensuring the participation of the local people and agencies in the project's implementation. The project was implemented through a participatory approach instead of operating remotely from Colombo. Officials were mainly selected from the area in consideration of their ethnic diversity and gender equality. Responsibilities were given to the officials on the site to handle and coordinate programs to suit the ground situation and address the needs of the local community in line with the broader project's objectives.
After tsunami disaster management, IUCN introduced a modern system with the public having small committees and get their opinion to develop 60% of the work successfully.
The IUCN Sri Lanka, which always looks for new avenues, has recently introduced 2 methods of fishing in these areas. And the PTERP has recently tested 2 pilot projects to culture fish in the lagoons: sea bass cage culture and pen culture.
What you see here is cage culture of sea bass. Sea bass is already found in these waters, but you don't find them in large numbers. Therefore, we wanted to introduce cage culture. You can see some of the fish just jumping, and we wanted to put them in cages and rear them. And the major problem in the lagoon is there's open access. People try to capture whatever the fish that they found. Here we have established some kind of property right where we have given a cage of 4 cage units, and there the fish is introduced and they are put into different sizes.
In Sri Lanka, these techniques are practiced in Palakkuda Lagoon in the Ampara District.
Our approach, our objective really was to introduce some sustainable fishery mechanisms so that the productivity of this lagoon will last for a longer time and will be inherited by the future generations.
Prior to the introduction of these 2 methods, IUCN organized and obtained the services of some experts in the field to identify the suitable locations. The immediate expectation of the project is to develop and coordinate innovative community-based initiatives to restore ecosystems and to enhance sustainable livelihoods of vulnerable rural communities, with a particular focus on women affected by the tsunami in selected divisions of the Ampara District. When the fishermen leave their homes for fishing, the women folk are left alone at home, having not much to engage in. It is a well-known fact that the whole family cannot exist on the income that one member earns. So, under the Sustainable Livelihood Development Program, various activities such as home